Hey guys, welcome back into another Warframe video. The Wukong Rework is finally here, just like what we see in Dev Stream. But real talk, is it worth the effort to invest your time into this? In this video, I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know about the Wukong Rework and to show you guys an updated build, which is my hybrid, balanced DPS build. As usual, if you want to skip to different sections of the video, you can check the timestamp on your display right now. So let's get started with everything that is new and reworked about Wukong. Now, he has a new passive which is called 5 levels of immortality. Basically, whenever you take too much damage that will cause you to die, this passive will help you to avoid death, but only up to 3 times. Every time you avoid death, you will get a random buff. Just like the passive's name, 5 levels of immortality, basically you have 5 different buffs. First of all, we have Primal Forces, which adds 300% elemental damage for 60 seconds. We have Heavenly Cloak, which grants you invisibility for 30 seconds. Cosmic Armor, which makes you invulnerable for 30 seconds, OP actually. Monkey Luck, which gives you extra loot drops for 60 seconds. And finally, we have Sly Alchemy, which makes orbs 4 times more effective for 60 seconds. I'm talking about health orbs, energy orbs, affinity orbs, blah blah blah. These buffs cannot be affected by mods, and that means you cannot increase the effectiveness of these 5 buffs. You can see the timer and the effect beside your HP bar. So that's pretty much it for the passive. Let's go over to its abilities. First of all, instead of Iron Jab, we have this really good ability which is called Celestial Twin. What this ability does is that it spawns a clone of Wukong. This clone has some pretty interesting stats to it. For one, its health will be multiplied. Of course, it depends on your max HP. And also, when you use your first skill on an enemy, it will mark it, and then your clone will only target the enemy that you have marked. This marked enemy will also take twice the damage from your clone. This ability is actually really useful against priority enemies like Eximuses, Noxus, Ancients, and more. Another special thing about Celestial Twin is that when you equip your melee weapon, your clone will use your gun, depending on which one you have last switched. And if you use your primary or your secondary, your clone will use your melee weapon. This basically complements whatever you're using. If you only equip a gun or only a melee weapon, your Celestial Twin will also equip the same weapon as you are holding right now, because you only brought one weapon, that's why. I actually forgot to mention, when you put down your clone, the duration is permanent until it dies. When it dies, you can just basically respawn it by just pressing 1. That's pretty much it. Later in this video, I'm going to show this again, so I thought it would be a good idea if I show you guys right now. Then I'll do more explaining later. If you use a weapon that can do a lot of crowd control, for example, Catchment Kit Guns, Staticor, Pox, or even better, Zar, this weapon will basically pair too damn well with Celestial Twin, especially when you have a melee weapon with Condition Overload. As mentioned before, I will explain more about this later. This ability actually has synergies with your second, third, and fourth ability, so I'll explain them as I move on. And talking about moving on, let's go to Cloudwalker. This ability also got a rework, and it's really interesting. Whenever you press this ability, you will turn into a cloud. Of course, it is much more faster than the previous one, and when you're in a cloud form, you will also get health regen. The way this works is that for every meter you travel, you will regain 1% of HP, which is pretty neat actually. Even better, it can also heal your Celestial Twin. Not only it stuns enemies, but it also acts as a really good emergency escape. The casting time for Cloudwalker is significantly faster than the one before, so that's why you can use it as an emergency escape skill. You can also use it for mobility or for just stunning enemies. The only negative thing about this skill is that the duration for this ability is significantly reduced. Without any mods and in max rank, you only get 2 seconds of flight time, so that's a bummer. And next we have Defy. Now when I first saw this ability rework, I have one thing in my mind. Defy is going to be the next best DPS absorb ability. This ability can literally outperform Nyx's absorb ability. How this ability works now is that whenever you activate it, you will become invulnerable for a few seconds. During this phase, you will basically absorb all the damage you have taken and basically store it. After the immortal phase is over, you will basically swing your stuff around. This action right here will deal damage in an area of effect. What's even better is that the damage is multiplied and the armor it gives you is also multiplied. Yes, my friends, this ability can actually provide you armor. So this ability is going to make Wukong really tanky. What if the enemies doesn't attack me? Well, when you activate this ability, your threat level will also increase. So this basically taunts the enemies to attack you instead of your allies, your cat, your dog or whatever. Of course, just like any other warframe skill and your brain, it doesn't work all the time. So you can't really rely on this ability. Unless you are in the middle of a group of enemies, then it will work really well. Trust me, I forgot to mention, the armor bonus is capped at 1500. It's probably to prevent you from being too overpowered. Now, when you use this ability with your celestial twin, your clone will actually do the same as well. It will also absorb all damage taken and multiply it and then deal damage on enemies. This means you can have double the coverage, double the damage, because the damage inflicted on your twin will also be counted in Defy. So it's a pretty good. And then finally we have the best ability. Not really, but it's still good. Primal Fury. Just like what it says in Warframe Wiki, Wukong equips his legendary Iron Staff as his melee exalted weapon. Yeah, bullshit. I mean, that was the past, but now it's much more better. When you activate this ability, instead of it starting out as minimum range, now you will get maximum attack range right out of the box. One really important thing you should keep note is that this ability will not support set mod bonuses. For example, the Gladiator mod set, which works just like Blood Rush, but instead it comes as a set. It doesn't work on this ability because it's an exalted weapon, but if you put it on your other weapons, for example your sentinel weapons or your existing melee weapon, then it will work. However, I can't confirm my statement just now. You have to try it out for yourself in order to know. I'm not going to go too deep into this ability because Primal Fury is much of a self-explanatory one. If you do want to know more, then you can check out Warframe Wiki for more information. This ability has a synergy with your celestial twin. When you activate this skill, then your twin will also do the same, which is cool because this ability is already strong. If you have a clone to do the same, then it will be just even stronger. But again, you can't always rely on the clone because it has a stupid AI, so yeah. Alright, that took like 6 or 7 minutes to explain everything, so yeah, hence the length of this video. Anyway, without wasting time, let's get straight into the build, shall we? This is my really simple one FORMA build. There is no specialization in this build. It's an all-rounded crowd control build for general use. Actually, I have no idea why I named it hybrid because it sounds kinda cool, but of course there is a reason why I named it balance, because all the stats are positive values. So let's go through the mods, shall we? First of all, we have duration mods, which are prime continuity and augur massage. Message. Having these mods will give you a lot of benefits for power duration. I'm talking about Cloudwalker or your Defy. The more duration you have on Defy, the more damage you can absorb. It's logic, right? You have more time for enemies to attack you. So that's why I'm using a little bit of duration here in order to help out your Defy. But of course, this may not be enough for some people. That's why you can replace some mods to increase your duration. And finally, it makes your ultimate more efficient and uses less energy. Next, we have efficiency mods, which are fleeting expertise and streamline, so you can freely cast your abilities without worrying about your energy pool. Talking about abilities, when you play as Wukong in this current update, you will be casting your third and your 3 a lot. That was my case. I don't know about you guys, but if you don't see a need to have this much power efficiency, then you can of course swap it out with other mods. But the reason why I'm having this much is because if I want to have an emergency escape with my second skill, Cloudwalker, I don't need much energy to cast it, and also I will be able to use my ultimate for a longer period of time. Next, we have range mods, which is only stretch. It increases the range of your Cloudwalker's stun as well as Defy because it adds a bigger swing radius, which translates into bigger AoE damage. This one single mod is important for crowd control. Again, if you don't care about crowd control, swap it out. And then we have strength mods, which are intensify and power drift. Now, power strength is a little bit more important in this build because you will get more healing from Cloudwalker, more damage and armor multiplier from Defy, and also your celestial twin will have more HP. In other words, when you have this much power strength, whenever you use your Cloudwalker, you will get to heal more and your kinda unkillable. Whenever you are about to die, just quickly press 2 and get your heal. You will be able to get around 60 or 70% HP in no time. And with Defy, you will get more damage and armor because of high multipliers. Sometimes you don't even need to absorb that much damage to destroy enemies because of the damage multiplier. So you just wanna suck in some damage and then let it do this job, and then boom, enemy is dead. Well, it doesn't work great against armored enemies, but still it's okay. And finally, we have Survivability. We have max strength, vitality, and adaptation. It brings your HP up to 1.1k, which is quite a lot actually, and paired with adaptation for more survivability. It's a nice combo actually. When you use it with Defy's armor buff with Arcane Guardian, it makes you an overpowered tank. So who says the new Wukong can't be immortal? Well, I mentioned about Arcane Guardian, that will be your first Arcane choice. For the second one, you can pick whatever you want. Energy shouldn't be a problem in this build, so you probably don't need Arcane Energize. So I'd recommend you Arcane Grace. It should be a good choice if you keep forgetting to use your Cloud Walker whenever you're almost dead. And when you have adaptation, Arcane Grace just works too damn well with it. Alright, finally we're done. Wait, actually we're not. Synergies and fun stuff. Yeah, as so it says in my notes. So one of the best way to use his Celestial Twin at the moment is to use a Condition Overload weapon. Now I previously mentioned this back a few minutes ago, so now here's more context to it. You can have your clone or your Celestial Twin to lay down status effects on enemies, and you doing the hack and slash with your melee weapon with a Condition Overload build. Now I'll let you see some gameplay because gameplay speaks for itself, right? Again, as previously mentioned when I was explaining about Celestial Twin, another combo would be Zar. For Zar with Cold, Blast and Corrosive damage, you are essentially creating an ultimate crowd control weapon. You will be able to apply many status effects, strip armor, slow down enemies, and also knocking them down. If you were the enemy, wouldn't that be annoying? So yeah, let's try it out. Pretty good, right? That's some crazy damage here and there, and definitely it's just too good. And the final combo I can think of is a Fishing Bodyguard. Whenever you go fishing in Plains of Eidolon or Obvalis, you can have Celestial Twin to guard your ass while you're fishing. It's pretty good actually, especially when it has a sniper rifle. It can cover long distances, just like a normal Spectre would. Of course, I've seen this in Reddit, so it's not my idea actually. Lol. Conclusion. Is he good to use? Maybe, because the first skill gives you a placebo effect. You may think your clone is actually doing something, dealing damage, crowd control, but actually it's just walking around and it doesn't even do much. Luckily this happens when it's using a melee weapon, but when you let him use a strong crowd control weapon like the Tsar, it just works too damn well. He can actually slow down enemies, strip armor, knock down, blast, which makes him a useful asset in the team. You are able to stun lock enemies, lay down status effects, it's able to watch your back, and most importantly, he can't kill you with that Tsar. This weapon is known for high suicide rates in Warframe. Seriously guys, you have a lot to live for. So appreciate your life and the people around you, especially for loved ones. And speaking about love, do I love this Warframe? Do I think he's fun to use? Definitely, this rework is really awesome for Wukong. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching this. If you guys found this video informative, then be sure to leave a like, run a nice comment, and please consider subscribing if you haven't. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can check out my Ko-fi page in the link in the description below. Thank you for watching once again, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Goodbye.